One. Welcome to the Level Leisure.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Got my brother over here, TL Lodge, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
L.K. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
And this is, once again, the Level Leisure. Coming to you on this Sunday, June 14th, in the year of your Lord.
See, you starting early, brother. Man, we supposed to be having a civil conversation.
Well, yeah. It is civil. Civil don't necessarily mean pleasant, you know.
See, and that's why I call this man the infamous and the notorious.
Exactly.
He be saying he ain't.
Right.
People, yeah, he is.
Right. So, it's a lot to talk about, as always, in the world. And just so you know, since this is a new platform,
Brand new.
brand new,
Low budget.
low budget, right?
Welcome to the party because y'all seeing us from the ground up.
Exactly. And we are the Level Leisure, a centrist point of view, right? As the way the good brother says, it's a centrist point of view. So we really try as best of our ability. We don't know it all. We know a little about a lot of different things, but we really try to have not necessarily I guess you say, down the middle approach with everything, but not leaning one way all the time just because.
Not leaning one way or the other none of the time.
Exactly. There's no ideological loyalty per se.
Right, it's all situation based.
Exactly. So with that said, we definitely know there's a lot going on in the world. The same shit, different day. So what we're going to do is try to make as much sense out of it as possible to people. I think, as I was talking to the good brother TL earlier, the Carmelo Anthony situation has really sparked a lot of things.
Bruh, have you done deep research on that?
Well, I did the background about the family, about the other legal precedents, which I talk about a lot. But we know that's what Texas has done forever. When we go back to even the James Byrd situation and the cops and stuff like that. So we knew that came out before, and they kind of squashed it about the affiliation of the family, the father, and now they got this whole watermelon felon thing going on, and it's whites that align with that doing what they do.
Right.
We can't be shocked about any of this stuff. It's how are we going to move with things?
Brother, I tried to stay real neutral on that because one thing is, and let me start off prefaces that by saying this. You cannot put the onus on children to be adults when the adults are acting like children.
Exactly.
So I did a deep dive, like as much as I could, with the limited information I have, but man, I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta be a little bit sided on this one because this was a railroad job. The fact that they gave this kid murder, like murder.
Right, first degree, premeditated.
And they only get away with this because one, they kept the cameras out the room.
Yep.
Two, people don't know the law.
Right.
So if we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about it from all aspects. We're going to talk about what happened. Then we're going to talk about the legal part of what happened. Then we could get into the race thing if you want to get into the race thing. But what happened in the legal aspect of why they ruled the way that they did, that was enough for me.
Well, yeah, and let me read something that somebody said off social media, because I like to quote people directly.
What befuckle is this? And I said, befuckle.
Befuckle. And I respect this person. I'm not going to say her name because we haven't been given authorization for that.
Right.
But she is a school teacher, somebody I respect, that really cares about the youth. Her quote goes to say, "It is absolutely irresponsible at the least to publicly justify that people who are being bullied should be able to kill their bullies. I know emotions are running high and racism is absolutely at play. But what are you really asking for when you say that? What are you condoning? We already have an absolutely ridiculous amount of school shootings. Are they justified if the child or children were bullying them? No. Emotional regulation must be taught. The rules of self-defense must be taught. Leaving people alone and not being a bully must be taught. Also, parents, file paperwork if your child is being bullied. Make a big deal. And I'm talking about actual bullying. File a police report, request meetings with administration, send emails, request separation from the bully on paper, call Channel 7, do all the things you can, because if it ever has to get to the point that someone needs to defend themselves, there will be a paper trail indicating that it was so bad.
And I agree with that, but that has nothing to do with this situation.
Right.
Because there was nothing to report, because this wasn't an active case of ongoing, not active, an ongoing case of bullying.
Right.
These were kids from two different schools.
Right.
They never encountered each other, at least as far I haven't seen any evidence.
Well, they were saying that it was something where he had texted him before, so he did know him or was aware of him. Haven't done a deep dive into that.
Yeah, because on my deep dive, I found absolutely nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
From my deep dive, it came up that there was a rainstorm. And for people to know, it wasn't a drizzle, it was a tornado watch. Some people said a tornado warning, but it was a severe storm.
Right.
Because Carmelo was from the visiting school. They didn't have anything set up to ward off from the rain. So all they had was tarps, and a lot of their kids went and, tried to take shelter underneath the bleachers.
Right.
Which, if you've ever been underneath a bleacher, it does not provide a whole lot of protection.
No, it doesn't. So
Carmelo went into the tent to seek shelter from the rain. He went in, dapped it up with some people.
Right.
People said he was very cordial, and then he was quiet. He sat to himself, put his bag in his lap, and was cool until Metcalf and his brother, and they're reporting about 4 others, approached him and demanded that he get out the tent. Now, there's no evidence as to whether it was because of race or just because he was from a rival school.
Right.
So I'm going to err on the side of caution. Let's just say it was from a rival school.
Well, let's just interject here with what his father has been saying. It definitely was about race.
Oh, I was going to get to that, brother.
Okay.
You jumped the pen there.
All right.
Woo!
Well, I ain't going to jump to conclusions, but I'm going to definitely jump ahead.
But the bottom line is, they told him to leave. And this is why I say that the whole case was kind of rigged, because they actually provided that as evidence that he was told to leave 15 times. He was told to leave by who? By another kid.
Right.
And told to leave where? Go out into a rainstorm.
Right.
Nobody is doing that. I'm a grown man.
Right.
I'm not doing that, bro. You can tell me, hey, bro, you got to be about this thing. Okay. And if I don't?
Right.
And that's pretty much what happened.
Well, that's the typical mindset of a certain group of people when it comes to us. We just need to teach our children to walk away because of all the other circumstances. That's what people don't want to say that, but we know implications when we hear it.
Yes. In theory, he should have walked away.
Right, in theory.
But he's a kid.
Right.
It's a rainstorm. There is thunder and lightning.
Right.
And he's a kid.
Right.
You cannot ask children to make adult decisions and have adult rationale.
Especially when adults are making adult decisions.
Exactly. Even when we was teaching that whole stranger danger, and you taught your kid not to talk to strangers, this, that, another, and they do the test where they get somebody to try to talk to them, the kid always did it.
Right.
Regardless of what the parents taught them, they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because kids don't have sound reason. They work off of instinct.
Right.
And the instinct is, I'm not about to go out there. I just got wet. It's raining. It's thundering. I'm not going out there. You don't own this tent.
Right.
You can't kick me out. I'm not going nowhere.
Exactly.
If you put your hands on me, it's going to be a problem. For me, dealing with 17 and 16-year-old children, that is reasonable.
Right.
The problem is now you assault him, and it's multiple of them.
Right.
Now, let's deal with the law of self-defense. as a concealed carry holder, I have to know this law.
Mm-hmm.
Because online, you got people, well, all he did was shove them, you should have shoved them back. That is not the law.
Right.
The law is it is proportion to size. Meaning, if a 5'5", 119-pound woman starts throwing blows towards a 6'4", 200+ pound bouncer, he cannot pull out a pew-pew and do something to her.
Exactly.
But reverse, if a 200+ pound 6'4" man started throwing fists at a 5'5", 119-pound woman, she can pull out the pew-pew.
Right, and that makes sense.
So now, you also have to add in the fact
Is that even in Texas as well?
Yes,
okay.
That's everywhere.
Everywhere, okay.
Now, you add in that Metcalf was 6'1", 213 pounds. Camelo was 5'8", 130. Legally, and also Texas is a stand your ground state.
Exactly.
So legally, one, he did not have to retreat.
Right.
Two, he was legally allowed to use a higher level of force because one, he was outnumbered,
right.
And two, the people that was attacking him outweighed him and out-heighted him.
Right.
So he was justified in his response. Three, he did not have a knife, he had a multi-tool.
Exactly.
You know, they keep trying to picture, because when I first heard the case, I thought he had his mother's butcher knife.
Right, he had a Rambo knife.
That's
up
what
in
I'm
here.
saying. No, he had a multi-tool.
Exactly.
Which most of the time you use to get dirt out your
my
cleat.
multi-tool that I carry has a very sharp knife that can cut you pretty good.
It can cut you. It normally will not kill you.
Right, normally, right.
What worked against Camelo is he actually did play football too. So he did have a certain amount of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a certain amount of technique in his push.
Mm-hmm.
So when he went to jab him, and remember, he only jabbed him once,
right.
Which is why I don't believe that it was murder.
That's why I wasn't malice, because it was one time.
That's what I'm saying.
You got plenty of cases, you know, just interrupting for a moment. You have plenty of cases. If you watch forensic shows, these are experts on here telling you that anytime they see multiple stabs, not one or two,
right.
3, 4, and even more, that was a crime of passion.
Yeah.
That was a certain level of disdain.
Crime of anger, crime of hate.
Anytime I've seen a one stab, it was more like a
defense. Get
off me. Never have I seen say, oh, it was malice with one. Nobody goes to kill nobody with one stab.
The problem is, because he played football, this 5'8", 130-pound guy actually had enough strength to push that blade in past his breastplate, and it severed an artery in his heart. That is the only reason why he died, because normally a 3.5-inch blade, it'll cause some stitches, but it normally won't kill you.
Right.
That was a bad circumstance and really bad luck.
Right.
You know, in the trial, they tried to make it seem like he specifically aimed for his heart. First of all...
So now the boy is the equalizer.
Exactly. Now you're trying to tell me that this boy had enough biology proficiency that in the heat of a fight with him and multiple people,
right,
he was precise enough to aim specifically
right
for his heart, push it past the breastplate. No, he had to use extra force to push this 3.5-inch multi-tool past his breastplate where it won't break.
Exactly.
And hit an artery.
Now, I'm 49. My brother over here is 50. We probably know how to do that because we've been around.
I don't.
Right.
I do not.
I'm saying.
No, I don't. I do not. I'm good at a lot of things.
Right.
Being an assassin is not one of them.
Well, I know you're not an assassin. What I'm saying
I could not be. I don't know anatomy.
I want to say that we can be more intentional with how we're using a knife, I should say. Let me say that because I don't want nobody thinking that you never know when you got to fuck somebody up.
Right.
But what I'm saying is we could be more intentional when it comes to stuff like that. Because for all we know, he may not even had no altercations like that before. He may not know how to deal with anything like that.
Which is why I have a problem with a jury of your peers.
Exactly.
Because a jury of my peers need to be, at least one of them needs to be my peer.
Right.
Just because you're a human does not mean that you're my peer.
Well, in that case, he needed to have people closer to his age range that can lawfully be on the jury, 18 or older,
And somebody of his culture.
and somebody of his culture, at least probably 1 to 2 men and 1 to 2 women. It should be a minimum of 3 people that look like him, and that's being light about it. A minimum of 3, and I say that because there is no organization, fraternal or whatever else like that, that doesn't have a method to discipline their own people. Now,
Right.
the law is the law. So if you're part of an organization,
Ish. Not to cut you off, but the law is the law. Ish.
Right.
With a strong IH.
yes, right.
Because the thing with the law is, even though the law is black and white, a jury can say, under this circumstance,
Exactly.
I disagree with that law.
Exactly.
And they can set a new precedent. And that's
Exactly.
what setting a precedent is.
Because they could definitely convicted the boy of manslaughter.
Yes.
They could have said, no, we don't think it was premeditated. It could have been 2nd degree. It could have been voluntary manslaughter. Some states have 3rd degree, which is similar to that. It depends on the state. So can't nobody look at that case and say because he brought a weapon.
He didn't bring a weapon. It's legal.
No. I'm just dealing with somebody say even if it was a weapon, you cannot say it's premeditated just because I brought it. Because that means he was going there to look for this boy to kill him. And that is completely false.
He did not approach him. And then from reports that I've seen and read, now it varies a little bit depending on who they talk to.
Right.
But they said once he was shoved, some people say that he actually did try to use that momentum of going back to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And others just said, no, he was just falling back. But in everybody's report, they say Metcalf reached out and grabbed him by his shirt and pulled him back.
Right.
So in any case, you did not allow him to leave.
True.
Which is another thing. So if you grab him and pull him back in the tent in order to continue the assault, that's even more self-defense. My question is why wasn't he put on the stand? Because there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that's going on with the racial tensions in that community. Because in Frisco, there is a big Indian population that's now joining them, and they've been in town halls, and they've been vocalizing their anti-immigrant opinions.
Right.
So you have to understand the racial issues of a town when people feel comfortable talking about race and being anti-somebody moving into the community in a town hall setting.
Right.
So there's clearly some race issues there, and considering that the black population is only 10% and it has stayed 10%, black people aren't moving there. You have to consider, or at least I have to consider, all of this.
Right.
Then when you add his father with the watermelon felon and going on these racist rages, because apparently you're not completely mad that somebody killed your son. You're mad that a black dude killed your son.
Exactly.
Otherwise, why would you say watermelon felon? Do you think if somebody killed my child, I would care what race they was?
Right. Well, let's break it down like this, brother. Not to keep bringing up our age, but we done lived a little bit. And one thing that I've noticed working with all types of people, black, white, Hispanic, gay, whatever, I have never seen anybody say, when they're not in front of the camera or saying the politically correct thing, I've never heard them say that they wasn't taught to keep your hands to yourself growing up. That was always a thing. Leave people alone. And it wasn't even, you never know what somebody may do or whatever like that. That's more of a new thing. Like how people respond, you don't know. That's the evolution. But we were all taught to keep your hands to yourself. And if you get into a fight, one of the first things they wanted to know, I know in our community, you didn't start nothing, did you?
Right.
No, he was messing with me. Okay, did you win? Yeah. My boy, my girl,
Did you start it, or did my son start it, or did he finish it?
My little one just had her first actual fight, I believe. And she had the dog with that girl. And that's what I asked her. Did you win? I know you didn't start it because you don't start nothing.
But kids are gonna fight.
Kids are going to fight. And the kids was out there smart enough to stop it because she still would have been.
I saw the video. They handled that perfectly.
Exactly.
A lot of people will sit up there and say, "Well, they should have been fighting in the first." Look, that's utopianism. That's not reality. Kids are going to fight. Adults are going to fight. Fights are going to happen from time to time.
Exactly.
You just have to be responsible with the fight. First of all, don't jump.
Exactly.
And this is my problem with Metcalf. You are twice his size.
Right.
What did you need to jump for? Why did you need other people? If you really had that big of a beef with him, why didn't you just square up?
Exactly. Just be like, I don't like you, dude. We need to box.
Right.
We need to square it out because for some reason I don't like you. I don't like you because you're a Negro. I don't like you because you play for the other school. It's so many reasons a young kid, a young person don't have to have a reason. They just don't like somebody because they don't like them.
Right.
And
they're kids.
They're kids. That's just what it is. So, but my point was, we've all heard that. And I've talked to many people not outside of the black community that feel the same way, especially amongst the men folk. You ain't starting nothing because we don't want no bullies. You don't start nothing. You treat everybody with respect, but don't let nobody put their hands on you.
Right. Don't let nobody put their hands
on you. And that's what it boils down to. Now, unfortunately, Metcalf, the boy, I feel sorry for him because what was he, 16, 17?
Yeah.
Because he is a product of his environment, of his family.
Which I do blame his father.
I blame the father.
I got concerned about the father and started looking towards him when they said during, at the sentencing, he was staring at Camelo trying to get him to meet him eye to eye.
Right.
Like, bro, you a man, bro. Like, that's... It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be hurt.
Right.
But sit up here trying to intimidate or put your size over somebody that's too weak to do anything about it.
Right.
He's unless he gets a new trial, he's done.
Yes.
So what are you trying to intimidate him for? And then after that, then all the watermelon felon and all this and other racist stuff. Because now, of course, the internet is forever. People are bringing up all of his old TikToks.
The internet will never forget.
Right. They bringing up all his old TikToks. He's been saying this stuff for a while. Right. So do I have reason to believe that his son saw a black dude that was way smaller than him
and that played
for another school and felt like he could bully him? Yeah.
Right.
Do I believe the cheerleader that went on social media and talked about he bullies everybody? He bullied us as cheerleaders, calling us all type of fat bees. Do I believe her? I can see it.
Yeah.
Now, let's be clear. Bullying is going to happen in school.
Yes.
Do I think that makes him a bad kid? No, because he's a kid.
Right.
A lot of
people
don't
necessarily make him worthy of death.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of kids that grew up as product of their environment and then grew out of it as they got older and wiser.
Exactly.
So, no, I'm not labeling him as anything other than an unfortunate death.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not going to absolve him from the fact that you would be alive if you just respected the fact that, hey, I know that y'all rivals or whatever, but it's raining, it's thunderstorming, y'all got to be cool until that rain is over. And then as soon as the rain ended, then you be like, all right, bro, you gotta get up out of here.
Exactly.
You could have did that.
You definitely could have did that. And let's break down the differences and it's by the nature of this society. The reality of it is that white folks, especially online, like to throw stones and hide their hand. They love to do it. Most of them have very hidden pages or made up pages to troll and stuff like that. A lot of times they may not even be white. But for the people that I know, as soon as these stories come out, you feel so free to say this stuff. And especially if you're in the Chicagoland area, if you're within going east, west, well, I would say north, south, and west, you're within 50 to 60 miles. You most likely encounter black folks on a regular at your job, school, wherever. Now, some communities that are not like that at all, but you are still encountering black people on a regular basis.
And let's put a disclaimer.
You would not dare say this stuff on a regular basis like that. You don't even bring up those conversations.
Right.
You don't have the heart to really stand on it because you know what it's driven by.
Now let's put a pause and put a disclaimer in there, because this brother is not talking about all white people.
No, this is not an all white people thing. That would be asinine to say in 2026.
We got white people in our community that's around us that we consider family.
Right.
I'll die for them today. Y'all know who y'all are.
Right.
I got white friends, literally all over the world friends.
Right.
Switzerland.
He definitely does.
Yes. So no, this is not white bashing.
Right. We're talking about people who, and I will give it to you like this. Some years ago, when the Nation of Islam was really making a lot of headways, they done toned down a lot over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But the reason why I said that, while I don't agree with everything, you shouldn't agree with everything with nobody. The reason why they are more legit than the Klan is, outside of the figureheads of the Klan who run it and was grand wizards, most people that were in the Klan kept it a secret.
Yes.
But we know the Muslims go to all type of schools. They go to all type of universities. Hell, Louis Farrakhan's grandson was just playing for the coach in Virginia that had won the championship, Tony Bennett, back in, I think, 2019. So his grandson was going there. They go all over the place. They out in the middle of the streets in the community. Of course, they're not going to be in the white community past the final call, but they don't care where they at, and they talk to anybody on their shows. When Munir Muhammad was alive, and the Munir Muhammad show, he had all types of people on his show. Yes. And that's the difference. Like, well, yeah, they may have some fiery rhetoric, but they are not trying to hide who they are and what they believe in. And that garners more respect than people like to say all this stuff.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, exactly. And don't say it everywhere else, but this is what I mean for black folks, where you got to move more strategically, because this has been the case.
Right.
They get involved in all this type of stuff. When we talk about, just circling on back, when we talk about disparities in the medical industry, why you had to put like a medical apartheid. When you talk about in the legal system, that's because all these people who don't look like us, who have certain views, made sure they got into that industry because that was a way to help destroy black people. Remember higher learning, when he told Remy, I don't know why you would drop out. We need more of you to be lawyers, doctors. Yeah. Because it's called new weapons. You know what I'm saying? Or quiet weapons for silent war, or new weapons. It has evolved.
And that's why this is so crazy, why I even hate that this had to be our first official topic. Right. Because we got better stuff to talk about. We do. You know, I want to talk about hip hop, talk about the culture, talk about the positivity, you know, and bridging gaps, because, you know, we about bridging gaps. Exactly. And we got to talk about some divisive crap. Exactly. You know, because people just won't leave people alone. Exactly. But I'm going to give everybody, not just black people, I'm going to give everybody one quick tip. If somebody is doing that whole keyboard warrior thing online, and they using an avatar as their picture, or they got a picture of a cat, right? Don't even respond. Exactly. Don't waste your time. Exactly. If they not representing their name in their face, don't even give the algorithm any props at all. Exactly. Don't respond. Don't click. Don't do nothing.
And I say that all the time. I say, why are you going back? Let them. We know that whoever these people are, they're not going to say it to your face. Right. They want to incite. And it could, for all we know, it could be somebody working for this media outlet doing the shit.
And that's a tip. If you want to comment on our page about this thing, and you want to have all these racist views and stuff, but you got a picture of your dog as your avatar, No,
Right.
no,
That
no,
coming will be coming down.
no, never, no.
It will be coming
No.
down.
I mean, I appreciate you putting the comment anywhere because that only helps
Right.
our algorithm.
Yeah.
But no,
We want intellectual discourse about
right.
stuff.
And it's not about agreeing. We don't mind disagreeing,
Agreeing,
but do it respectfully.
exactly.
Do
And
it civilly.
this situation with Carmelo Anthony is a prime example of cause and effect. And you can't tell people how to respond.
Right.
That's why when people find people cheating, if they kill them in that moment, that's called a crime of passion.
Right.
Now, is it a right thing to do?
No.
No. But it's a crime of passion.
But it's a biological thing. You
Exactly.
cannot take human nature out of situations,
Exactly.
which is what people are trying to do, is take the human nature. This kid was not going to leave the tent. How do I know? Because I would not have left the tent. And I'm 50.
Exactly.
Right now, nobody's going to tell me to go out in the rainstorm and just stand there.
Right.
And there's no shelter.
Exactly.
And they on the track and field, there's no buildings for them to go in. Man, I went on the satellite feed and looked at the field. There was no shelter at all.
No, it wasn't. There's not a whole lot of shelter when you're running in a track meet.
Exactly. So,
But
no.
prime example, I'm on the J14. I commute to work downtown. Some guy is, mind you, it's not even 8, probably 30. Get on the bus with a bottle of Hennessy in his back pocket with his girl. She's sitting in one seat. I'm sitting one right behind it because the seat next to it has some stuff in it.
Right.
He tried to tell me to move over. I'm like, what are you talking about? Move over. No. Come on, man. Go on and get over there. Like, no, it's too early for that.
Right.
And then he trying to sit down there like, I don't want to. And he first he say, I'm going to go to jail today. I said, no, you're going to be on the news. Like, because why are you messing with me? You could have politely said, first of all, the seat was messed up. So where would you and your girl go sit anyway?
Right.
It was crowded. So where would you go sit? So nobody is scared, but leave people alone or have courtesy. Hey, me and my lady want to sit next to each other. Can you sit over there? I will consider that.
I would consider it.
I will
not saying
always
I would
consider
do it, but I
I'm
would
not saying.
consider.
I mean, yeah. In that case, it wasn't no big deal.
If you ask nicely,
everybody was going to sit next to somebody anyway.
Right.
And, okay, cool, but don't come in like you
ordering me.
Ordering you.
No, you're not gonna order me to
First
do
of all,
nothing.
you're already drunk. I hit you in your throat one time. You all good.
You're not gonna order me to do nothing.
Nothing. But
you're not an authority over my life.
But what I'm saying is, you have a lot of people with this mentality.
Yeah.
Raising children.
Yeah. And that's when it comes back to the racial side of it,
right? That
you have to consider, which is the whole thing of you have a large demographic, not all of them,
yeah,
but feel like
right.
A white person tells a black person to do something, you just do it.
Right.
Because that was how it was in the Jim Crow era.
Exactly.
And they don't want to give that up.
No, they don't.
Racist whites refuse to give that up.
They refuse, brother.
So that's why they put a lot of blame on Carmelo, because he told you to leave 15 times. You should have just did it. Why do you have to tell you 15 times? Well, because he's not an authority over me.
Right. Or because he's white, that black boy should just leave.
No.
That's
That's
their feeling, brother.
And it's the other thing of us being the ones to always have to turn the other cheek and be the bigger person. You could be as big of a butthole as you want to be, but we're supposed to just say, all right, well, I don't want no problems, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Why is it that we're the ones that's always asked to do that under every single circumstance?
Exactly.
You got this kid from Antioch, Illinois, that took an illegal AR-15 across state lines while he was underage, went into an active hot zone, brandishing a firearm, which is another thing with the law.
Right.
Are you aware that brandishing, even just showing the firearm, is assault with a deadly weapon?
It is.
So, because you got a lot of people now comparing Rittenhouse with this situation, it was like, well, Rittenhouse ran away and he never touched anybody. He did legally,
right?
Because him just showing up with the AR is assault with a deadly
Deadly
weapon. Now,
weapon.
you can disagree with the law, but that is the
There's
law.
no law. Right.
And they had a right to defend themselves against his assault with a deadly
Right.
weapon.
Right.
But we, even in the middle of an uproar, are still supposed to just ignore, walk away, be passive,
Well,
even when somebody's threatening our lives with an AR-15.
Well, brother, you got to understand how history has presented itself in this country. I forgot to share it yesterday, but they were showing when black people were starting to move into Cicero, Illinois.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which is probably predominantly Hispanic now.
Now it is, yeah. But
Right.
back then,
Right. But the key thing that I see from a lot of people who push the narrative when stuff go down is that black people are the violent ones.
right.
And it just goes to show that people, because their history of violence is justified, it's glorified, or it's wars, but it's not gang, or it's not
Right.
this and that. They always make it seem more significant why they kill somebody.
Why in y'all music do y'all talk about violence so much? Why in your movies are my bosses heroes?
Exactly.
You talk about Lucky Luciano when
Right. Al Capone,
Capone and Dutch Schultz,
Schultz, all of them,
like they
Bugsy
heroes.
Siegel. Bugsy Siegel, I should say. But how many people have died with the whole weapons of mass destruction? How many people did they kill?
Millions.
Millions. That's how many people they kill. Millions.
And don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, this is not about blaming or throwing people, especially certain people, under the bus.
Right.
This is about being fair
Right.
and justice.
Exactly.
Don't sit up here and criticize us for our music that we don't even have control over, because we don't own any record labels, any production companies. We don't own none of that. So we can only produce the music that they allow us to produce.
Right.
But you want to demonize us as being a violent people. Meanwhile, you have nothing but horrible imagery and is glorified. You know, one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen is Beloved, and that is the screenplay Grease.
Yep.
Have you ever really just sat down and thought about what the movie / screenplay Grease was about?
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, let me edify you. So, Grease is about this gangbanger
Right.
that went on summer vacation. So he took off his little T-bird jacket and put it to the side. And while he was on vacation, he met this innocent little girl named Sandy. And they didn't do nothing, maybe a little petting, but they had a very sweet romance. No sex, no nothing. And then school started. So he came back, he put his gang jacket back on, and he became the leader of the T-Birds, a gangbanging thug, all over again. But wouldn't you know it, Sandy happened to show up at the school.
Right.
Well, he had to save face, so he ignored Sandy and
Yeah.
treated her like crap. Sandy was so desperate for his attention, she joined the female auxiliary of that gang
Right.
and became a pink lady. And her best friend was a school whore who was pregnant and didn't really know for sure who the baby father is. And that young lady, also her other best friend, was a girl named Frenchie that went around Frenching everybody, which is why they called her Frenchie, even though we know subtext and she was doing more.
Right.
than Frenchie,
Exactly.
who was a high school dropout, a beauty school dropout, a low life trash. And that was her other best friend.
Frenchie was code word for fellatio.
Exactly. And so, even when joining the female auxiliary did not get his attention, the whore, so it said, well, you know what you got to do? You got to whore yourself out. So she started smoking. She put on those little leggings and became basically a slut. And then it was like, wowza! And
that movie is American Pastime.
Bro, that is disgusting. That is just as disgusting as Happy Days.
Right.
When you got Arthur Fonzarelli, a high school dropout, head of a gang, still hanging around the sock hops,
Right.
getting little teenage girls, and banging them out. And you call Richie's father an American dad. Richie's father who rented out his coach house to this pedophile that was banging out underage girls.
Right.
Meanwhile, letting him hang out with his daughter. And then letting his daughter actually date his nephew, who was also in a gay. Bro, stop it. Stop it. Don't talk about our music. Don't talk about our culture when you all have some of the most disgusting crap.
Well, brother, first of all, the reality of it is we didn't create none of this.
No.
So where did we learn it all from?
You know, when we had a semi-control over our culture, we put out nothing but positive music.
Yeah. But the reality of it is, most of the music that's still out from our culture is not like that.
No.
And the reason why I put more of the onus on us to not be so critical is because now we only had certain mediums where we can get the music from.
Right.
Now, with streaming and everything, YouTube, all that, you can curate everything that you want there. You don't even see certain stuff.
And this is why we go back to you cannot expect children to make adult decisions.
Exactly.
These record labels and everything recruit these kids,
right,
15, 16, 17, with promises of millions, even though you're not going to get millions because they're going to kill you in the contract.
Right.
But these kids don't know no better. The family doesn't know any better because we were never, as a collective, taught business and business strategies.
And now that has even changed with streaming. That even though people are signing record deals and stuff like that, it's not as bad as it was maybe early 2000s. Because you got people like, NBA Youngboy, who I'm not a fan of his music, but he's been independent, killing it, doing it himself.
I respect that about Chance.
Exactly. So the wave is there. The problem is what we see and then what we talk about. Like, if we're talking about Young Miami and Sexy Red or Cardi B, but adults, our timeline should be flooded. Like, Rhapsody got 2 or 3 new songs out.
Right.
All these people complaining, haven't seen nobody shared that. So I'm saying is that while the mediums are not controlled by us, what the mediums have done is give us the option of choosing what we can put out there.
Right.
And unfortunately, we haven't used that choice because we still don't have control. But it was a time where you either had to go on the radio.
It's just not being pushed.
Right.
You got a lot of positive people out here.
Right.
You got a lot of people out here that's not even putting swear words in their rap.
Exactly.
That's just not getting pushed.
But that's why we're going to play those people in between on our show.
Well, we're going to try because you still got a copyright.
Yeah, you still got a copyright and all that stuff. So,
and we don't have the producers yet that can reach out and get their permission.
Somebody trying to get their bread.
But if this happens to cross your algorithm and you would like your stuff played, hit us up.
Exactly. We will have terms and conditions because we want to do square dealing business.
Right.
We don't want nobody saying because we blow up or whatever like that. But of course, we believe in compensating people, even if we are creating a medium for you to be exposed. You still got to eat, feed your family, and take care of yourself. So it's none of that. The licensing deals are going to be what they should be when we get to that point.
Yeah, but we're not going to let this drag on too long. Yeah. Before we run out of time, we're going to end on some positive notes. Because the one thing that we did not do is officially introduce ourselves. Because
we did?
No, we said our name, but we didn't really
really say
who we are.
Who we are?
So, brother, you start off.
Who
you be? First of all, who is you?
I'm an Asiatic black man. No diss anybody. Love the gods of earth and all them guys. No, I'm L.K. Wilson. I'm a father. I have a daughter. I have some bonus children from a previous marriage. Don't want to exclude them because they still like to be in my pockets. But I do have one biological daughter, Asaya. She's about to be 12. I am a long-term manager. I work in operations management. Yeah, I'm a football fan. I love hip hop, R&B, and jazz. You know, yeah, some classical. So that's me. I'm a very simple guy. As you see, like to smoke the stick, have a little whiskey, and you'll learn more about me as we go on. Because what comes out of your mouth and your opinion says a lot about you too. So, but that's the gist of who I am. I'm a son. I got two sisters. One is batshit crazy. My other one, I love to death. Shout out to Shamanda. But yeah, that's it. I'm a friend. A brother. So I'm pretty simple. Now this brother, since to my right, may be a lot more complex.
Let me introduce myself.
Right, Tom Lodge right
My
here.
name is T.L. Lodge,
Right.
a.k.a. Bone, a.k.a. Ghost, a.k.a. the Egg God, a.k.a. Scrubby Nipples.
AKA the Bronzeville Brawler.
I'm all those things.
Right.
Plus a little bit more.
Right.
But anyway, born and raised in the Chi. That's
Yes.
Chicago for people who don't know what the Chi is.
Right.
Yes, we do call it the Chi because I hate people that say nobody in Chicago calls it the Chi.
No, we don't call it Chirac.
Right. Everybody
Right.
in Chicago calls it the Chi.
Right.
South Side, born and raised.
South Side?
Big into cultures. That's the one thing that you all are going to learn about me before you learn anything else. I love cultures. I know from this conversation, it probably doesn't seem that way, but trust, stick with me. Don't
Right.
take offense. Just be open-minded. You will come to learn. How we see the world. It is not black and white. So love cultures, love my people. Got people everywhere, friends all over the world. Shout out to all y'all. I didn't get a chance to mention my people in England. Y'all know who y'all are. Hey, we still got to do a cruise, man. I'm serious. It's been too long.
AKA Mr. International.
But don't start that.
Right. So I'm just saying, since people are talking about what they AKAs,
But, this first podcast, I hope it wasn't too rough and gritty for you when you're still working out the kinks.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you will get listening to our podcast is authenticity. You're not going to get a whole bunch of edits. You're not going to screening out what they say, how they feel.
Right.
What you see and what you hear is what you get. You will always know us as two authentic brothers that you can have a civil, discourse discussion with. And like I said, it's not about agreeing. We both believe that we learn more from people who disagree than you will ever learn just being surrounded by people who do agree.
Exactly.
So feel free to be respectful, chime in, let us know, and stay with us because, like I said, this is just the first episode.
Yeah.
We will be growing.
And I'd like to say this too, to piggyback on what you said. It's okay to have educated opinions. Everything don't have to be a data chart. But if you have an opinion, you can talk about your experience, but please delineate that from what the actual facts of something be.
Correct.
Because if you're in a particular demographic or a particular geographic area, you're not exposed to anything. I was talking with a coworker who happens to be a younger white lady, and she was talking about how she grew up in Gurnee, and she was just kind of oblivious.
Shout out America.
Yep. She was kind of oblivious to racism, even with the few blacks that was there or close by in Waukegan in North Chicago. But she said when she got to the city, she can fully see. Now we talk about Chicago. She fully can see the racial disparities. Now this is somebody who was totally oblivious to it, and she's much younger than us, probably about 8 years. And when she first moved into the city, from her lily white world, she could see right there. And look, that goes to say that you can have an observation about where you live and how it is. It's always nicer in smaller communities.
Right.
That's just the reality.
But what's crazy is, even though Chicago is probably, I don't know if it still is, but it once was
13th most still segregated city.
13th most segregated city in the United States.
And that's not great.
We are still a super friendly city.
It is. We are.
I know y'all, for people who's not from Chicago, you hear about all the crime. It is not like that.
But that's why the population has still increased, though.
Right. Is everybody that comes here loves Chicago. I have never met, and trust me, I've met a ton of people. I've never met one that came to Chicago and did not like Chicago.
Right.
Now there's some that don't want to move here, but they all want to come back and visit.
Right.
Every single one.
Hell yeah! Like I want to visit New York. I would never want to live there.
Yeah, I wouldn't give New York a second chance.
Yeah, I'll go and hang out in New York and kick it, but I'm coming back home.
Congrats, New York. Shout out
to the Knicks,
Spike
right.
Lee. Yes,
but I gotta say this though. New York people, when the Bears, since all these teams are winning who ain't won shit in years, when the Bears make it to the Super Bowl, y'all better, unless they playing the Jets or the Bills, I give y'all the Bills, and the Giants in the NFC Championship, y'all better be rooting for Chicago the way we rooted for the Knicks here. Because we was rooting for the Knicks. Because, I mean, we respect San Antonio, but we don't really root for San Antonio.
Right. So shout out Knicks, but New York, next time I come back, man, please do better because my first trip to New York,
Brother, what was you expecting, brother?
What people try to advertise, like anything that you ever would want in New York, you could get 24 hours a day. And it's like everything that I wanted, I couldn't get.
Why? What was that you couldn't get?
Food.
You couldn't get food?
No, bruh, understand. No.
What food you couldn't get, brother?
Nothing. Bruh, we wound up eating a Cheesecake Factory.
Okay. Why you couldn't get?
I could eat a Cheesecake Factory here.
But what food?
They was closed. They was out of stuff. Every time I want to order some chicken, we out of the chicken. Bruh, It was so bad. Because we went and saw Wicked. Because I'm a screenplay dude, so sorry. Went and saw Wicked. Went to the matinee show. Went to the concession before anything opened. Like, man, let me get some popcorn. We ain't got no popcorn. How the hell you don't have no popcorn? Bruh,
ain't this Kentucky?
It's a theater.
Ain't this Kentucky? Ain't got no more chicken, huh?
It's a theater. How do you not have popcorn?
Right.
And a matinee. So this was the very first show that the theater opened. You literally unlocked the doors, cut the lights on. We was the first people in there.
Where was the popcorn at?
They was out. They didn't have no more.
What did they have?
Like nuts and, chips. But I want popcorn. I'm popcorn.
Any theater, whether play,
or movie,
concert, movie,
you have some freaking popcorn.
You should always have popcorn somewhere available. Because that is one of the most easiest snacks to have for people. And it's filling.
And between that and paying $30 to go from Queens to Manhattan, I know that sounds far. But understand, when we were staying there at Queens, you look across the river, that was Manhattan. It was like right there. Like on a good day, I could have swam it if the river wouldn't have been so polluted. Yeah. It was right there. Why it cost me $30? Bro, it wouldn't have cost me $30 to go from Rogers Park to South Shore.
Well, now it is because they just raised everything.
Yeah, but it didn't back then.
How long ago was that?
2017.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I go there, I get to work I can set the price at $29 on some days. Right. So that was crazy almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was not a good experience.
Good, great.
But I think, everybody deserves a second chance.
The Subway.
I don't like doing that type of stuff when I don't know the layout of the city. Like, I don't know how people move.
Yeah, true.
I've never been in New York. I have not encountered a lot of New Yorkers.
Right.
So it's like, let me get the feel of the layer. Right. Let me interact with some people so that I can see warning signs, the problems, stuff like that. Exactly. Before I know celebrities even ride the subway, and that's cool. Y'all from New York.
Right, exactly.
So, but I'll give them another chance.
Okay. Well, I think on our next show, because we try to get to the educational portion, we'll probably delve into the process of voting as well as other things.
Definitely other things.
Yeah. So
we got a lot to talk about.
Right. So but definitely the process of voting, because people really don't understand about voting. And And I'm not really finna get into a whole lot of stats and figures. I'm gonna talk about having a healthy outlook on what voting is for.
And the importance of it.
And the importance of it, right. Because clearly it's important if they're trying to change.
Trying.
Well,
they are changing.
Well, I don't want to say trying because they've been doing that.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
People are just alerted to it.
It's just under Trump, they feel free to just really make it blatant.
Exactly.
Like real blatant. And, you know, we'll talk about all that stuff too.
We definitely will. But thank y'all for tuning in.
Hope y'all give some positive feedback. Hope y'all leave some constructive criticism. And let's do this thing and make this podcast great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So until next time.
Two fingers to the east. Peace.